recommend, like, where you can, make it known to the other people within the business that this person is going through something. Where can we maybe reduce the load? But still hold people accountable to certain KPIs, because if you relaxed too much about what is required, unfortunately, that can be taken advantage of. And I was taken advantage of as well in this sense, and why I ended up doing 2 jobs. And so my biggest lesson would just be still hold people accountable, maybe reduce the load, but make it aware to the comfort of the person, how far they're willing to make people aware, but make it aware that somebody's going through something. We just need to give them some time. And they also need to accept that
the time is not forever.
Yes. And it's at some point you're going to also have to start being harsh about, like, hey, so we're going to start putting things back in your plate. In 2 weeks, you're putting this back in your plate. And I think, we always say, like, at the end of the day, we're all here to work, guys. Like, we're being held to very high standards. But kindness, you'd be surprised at how people show up after you've shown them kindness as well.
Hello, Alpha Female family, and welcome back to yet another podcast episode. We are still in the trenches of the leadership series, and today we have Ask a Leader edition. And I'm not alone. I'm with my stunning guest, Priscilla Menoe Mtsi. Welcome, Sissy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited for today, so thank you.
So Ask a Leader as a concept is when we sit down with a seasoned leader, powerhouse, in the house. Eight.
Clock it. Clock it.
And people have written in and sent us questions. And today you and I will be answering those questions. So I'm super excited. But before we continue, let me tell the people why you are greatness personified. So Priscilla is a tech leader. She is a speaker, a moderator. She's worked for global companies. She's worked on CX strategy, and she's at the intersection of digital policy, as well as just working on complicated things and making them amazing.
I love
pretty
that.
much.
I should have you do my biography all the time, because yes, that's really what it is. Just doing complicated stuff.
She's worked for companies like Uber, and now she's at Canva. Quite impressive, I think, CV, as well as just your journey in leadership, especially at a young age. You also sit on boards, Sissy. Hey, Bandla. And been a global shaper. What don't you do?
I'm exhausted. Okay.
What don't you do? You then decided, I'm going to get my master's degree.
One more thing. What's one more thing on this plate? This plate is full already. I love
master's degree internationally. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Yeah. So we're going to start with an icebreaker.
Yes. A
leadership just rapid fire questions, and then you answer with the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Who's your favorite leader?
Oh, actually, I'd say my father.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Can I give more context?
Yes.
Okay,
please,
great.
Please.
So one of the things I've seen with my father is that when I grew up, I found him to be strict. But with time, I've realized it's a little bit of love, discipline that is shown from me and from him in particular. And most importantly, because of age and how he's aging and how I'm aging, I've personified him more. So he's my favorite leader because he has shown me what it's like to be a caring leader, but also a disciplined one. So he still remains my favorite leader to date.
I love that. Oh, daddy's girl.
I'm a daddy's girl. I'm a daddy's girl, guys. Last born things. That's me.
Trump or Barack Obama?
You, please. Barack. All day, every day. Please. That's my man's, though. Barack.
And if you had like a leadership wand, what is the one thing you'd change about leadership, especially in corporate?
Sure, I'd make it kinder.
Oh, I love that.
We just, I've been on the end of very kind leadership that cared for me beyond the workspace. And I just wish that for a lot more people to experience a kind type of leadership. And kindness does not mean walkover. It also just means that I can hold you accountable, but do it with care. And so that's what I would wish. And magic done to everybody.
Do
Cling, cling,
it.
cling, 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 cling.
Across. We're meeting
Yes.
outcomes, but we're meeting them with kindness.
Bro, like there's no need for us to be aggressive with each other in the workspace.
Yeah.
And I'm very pro Puma Silwe sometimes because sometimes you got to go there, but for the most part, kindness gets the work done. So
yeah. I love that. And I think the last one then would be, I ask everyone who comes to the series, what is your favorite quote or leadership quote?
My favorite quote, it's so funny. I was asking my partner earlier during the week, like what his favorite quote is, because I've got too many and I can't choose one. But I think one that stood out for me is leadership as a function is meant to create more leaders and not more followers.
Oh, I love that.
Because I find the more you are in a leadership position, you tend to enjoy the fact that there's many under you reporting to you, and that's sort of become the norm of what leadership looks like right now. And so it's about like, how do you send the elevator down to basement as well as you're going up. So
I love that. Actually, that concept, I think a lot of people don't grasp because they even use the number of followers as a testament of I can lead.
Yes. And it's actually so funny. I love that you're saying that because this is also something that comes up a lot when we talk about like, oh, what's your next role? All the recruiters are asking you how many people have you led. And so it's a number of people you've led kind of showcases how good of a leader you are, and that's not necessarily true. And so I hope more leaders are also looking at it as am I creating more leaders versus just adding a number to my 10,000 people that I'm leading.
Oh, I love that. And then let's talk a bit about you, Gengok. You wrote a letter for us, which was beautiful, to young leaders. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Go check out the letter. Go check it out.
You know? But I loved it. And one of the things that you shared was that, you spent a lot of time focusing on perfection and not getting to starting, doing, and iterating. So what other lessons have you learned? Maybe you can give us 2 that have stood out in your journey.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So one of the... And you'll see actually something recent that I saw, and I put up a little bit on my Instagram talking about it as well, is the rigidness of being someone. So I would say the one thing I've actually realized I've learned the most as well in my journey is to be open, not to be so rigid. And a lot of it is about being creative. And when we say creativity around your work life, it's not like, oh, I work in this space or I'm a marketer, etc. But creativity is being malleable. So opportunities will come, they will go. Don't be so rigid about, okay, I studied CA, therefore I'm going to be director, senior manager, and then I'm going to be CEO. Like, it's great because for the most part, certain routes are set up in that way.
Yes.
My journey has not been that way at all. I studied accounting and tax, and then I worked in a law firm, and then I did policy, and then I worked in tech, and now I'm in tech, doing none of what I've learned.
Yeah, now you're a woman in tech.
Yeah, woman in tech. But that's the best thing about it. It's because I was being creative about what my career looks like, and I was malleable to opportunities. My first role that I got in tech, I saw somebody literally wearing a sweater that had Uber on it. And they were having lunch with somebody. And I walked up to them and I was like, hey, I studied policy. I know you guys are not hiring, but I'm interested in learning something. I just finished my master's. Could you give me a chance? And so the creativity and malleability there is the ability to just step into something that you don't know about.
I love that.
And say, just give me a chance. I can learn. And that's my favorite thing, and that's what I wish for a lot of people to also learn. Just don't be rigid in what you're thinking
Have
about.
you heard of a concept of, and I've been sharing it lately, portfolio careers?
No.
I love it. So this concept speaks about how, as a human, there's many talents to you and many facets to you. So when we go to work, we sell our time. That's your 9 to 5, whatever. But there's other things that make up you. So then you start building, instead of building a linear career, you build a portfolio of you. So when someone comes to you, and when I think about it, I see it, right? When someone comes to you, they open page 5, they're like, Lumi also.
Well, I love what you're saying, because that's
to your rigidness.
That's literally it. That's literally it. Like I love the portfolio of Work. I love that. I'm going to use that. I think that's such a great concept because also work has evolved a lot now. It doesn't look the same as it used to. My parents were teachers. They stayed teachers. Then the next step is principal, and then they resigned. I mean, life retired. Yo, Sana, they retired. Yo, my parents would kill me if I told people they resigned. They retired. But like work doesn't look like that anymore. So I would say be creative and malleable. That's the first one. I think a second one is don't. It's one of the sayings that one of my previous leaders used to say to me, "You're not a tree, move." So just leave, guys. It's also okay to leave. Yo, just leave. It's okay to move away from things. Like, don't overstay your visit in things. And this is for life. This is for love. This is for career. Don't overstay where you are. A lot of the things, it's really related to comfort. That's we stay because we're comfortable. We stay because this is what we know and I'm good at it. So it's about just making sure that whenever you feel that itch, discover what that looks like. Don't think of yourself as, but like maybe just 2 more years. And sometimes that is what it is. Maybe you just have to stick it out. But the best career moves that have happened for me is because I was like, hey, it's okay. I've done what I've done here. I need to just discover something else. And I've stayed in one tech thing for like 6-7 years. But I had like 3-4 jobs in that time. So sometimes just moving maybe is lateral. And I think that's also another thing people need to consider. Twice I took a lateral move and
it's not always upwards.
It's not always upwards. And sometimes it's not about the money. And I have the privilege at that time, at least, to not have to think about money when I was making moves. I was just like, I'm curious and I want to learn. And I've overstayed my visit in this role. And so I moved laterally. So
let me vote with my feet. Normalize voting with your feet.
Yo, I love that. No, because seriously, people need just move. You're not a tree.
Yeah, no one did like saying that you can actually just vote with your feet.
Yes.
I think it also speaks to recently I've been reading up on alignment as well. So this portfolio career stuff, but also alignment. I think it's okay to seek alignment more than just stepping up.
Yes.
Because that's more fulfilling and you grow more.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I really love that.
So so I asked you about the lessons, but what was your biggest like leadership challenge?
Guys, people. Leading people is hard. Leading people is hard. I think and I always thought that I didn't think hard about like how leadership could be challenging because leadership was sort of thrust onto my lap for the most part, especially in my career, where you are given a role and then, there's 2 people you need to support. So these people are going to report into you. And I think the biggest challenge I had was managing people because I thought anybody in a certain workspace from a certain background would have a similar type of discipline when it comes to work, professionalism when it comes to work. And I learned very hard, and it was even harder giving feedback around how do you show up to work? How do you speak to people? There was also cultural differences, male leading a male person and who was not in the same country. So the cultural differences are also stark there. So the biggest challenge for me was giving feedback, having it ignored multiple times. Like, was I not clear about what I said?
You start calling your friends. Friend?
Am I crazy? Like somebody say something. And it was so hard. And ironically, though, this person has actually grown so much. And I'd actually like to even preface this with saying I became a not so great leader because of this person as well. And it's not because of them. It's because I handled it badly by saying, I actually can't handle this, and then move them on to another leader. And so this person was quite rotated around. Okay. And with time, even my friends would ask me, hey, where's your man? Because they knew that this man was living rent-free in my mind. And at some time, I was like, you know what? Maybe it's me as well. At some point, I was like, let me give this person a chance. They're being moved around. Let me actually give them another chance and talk to them frankly without them being my direct report and see what that looks like. And it was a much better relationship after the fact. They did actually end up coming to report me again. And then it was a much better relationship. And they've gone on now to actually work even in a bigger international company now. And
That's so amazing.
now they're having issues with leadership. I'm like, yay, the consequences of your actions. So what comes around goes around. Yay, yay. But it was such a stretch lesson for me. And this was over a year and a half even. So I think sometimes even as leaders, when something you feel like it's too difficult, you just kind of pass the buck. And I passed that back. I was like, it's going to affect my team's KPIs, the morale of the team, how other people are perceiving me. And then with time, I was like, actually, I'm not learning anything by just passing this person around. And it was my favorite. It's literally, he's still my favorite story of how he's grown me in leadership. Very difficult culturally. Like even today, like sometimes I'm like, that's very inappropriate, like still teaching you even now. But it's my favorite story of how I've had difficult leadership that has also become my favorite story about leadership.
So it's sort of like become your highlight.
It has become my absolute highlight. Because I think I'm a bit privileged in the sense that I've had easy ways of leading people because I found people quite similar to me. And I think it's a privilege and a blessing that I've been able to walk into spaces and get along with the majority of people I've worked with and people I've had to lead. And so this was the first time that was challenged. And that's why I also wanted to push it away, right? Because I was like, I was like, this can't be my portion. But it was the only way I've actually learned the most about leadership versus leading people that are similar to me, easier to manage. And I am also don't shy away from giving people hard feedback with kindness. But this one was, I did kindness, then I did the actually, and then doing the full, okay, now we might need to get some HR people involved and then pulling back again and trying to manage it. Like, I think culturally, I think that was the biggest thing. It was cultural things, and I think having a female leader for the first time for him as well. And he was also older than me, so it also made it even, there's also all those other nuances to take place, but it also became the highlight of my career.
I love that. I love that. And I like that it's multifaceted.
Yes.
So it did teach you a lot. So now, as you're going into different countries, because you travel a lot, you know, all of these are at the back of your mind.
You're actually bringing up something so important about, like, when you start working, like, you get used to a certain way of doing things, especially because we're in South Africa. Generally, South Africans, we taught a certain way. We get along with Europeans because of that. Now, when we start working with other people on the continent, who are my favorite type of people to work with, by the way, because they are so entrepreneurial about things, but it can come off unprofessional, abrasive, disrespectful at times. And so it's given me such a cultural lens of how to deal with certain people. Sometimes your leadership needs to take a back seat to the guy in the room, because where we are right now, unfortunately,
it's his space.
It's his space. And the men in the room are also men who are older and are looking at things like, not the yellow bone girl trying to lead us into what this meeting is about, you know, and it's about reading that type of things. And I think it's a bit of a travesty that sometimes, unfortunately, female leaders have to maybe sit maybe in the corner, because this, for the greater good of what we're trying to do, this is important. But I think having nuance in how we are approaching different people is very important. And it's the malleability. Like, I can walk in a room, I'm like, hey, these men are not, yes, Bab Mama. There's no, hi, Robert. Robert is not having it. You know, it's Bab Robert here in this room.
But I also think you raise a very valid point on when to take it personally and when not to take it personally.
Yep.
I think sometimes we do get emotional on our, and maybe emotional is not the right word, because we're called that all the time. Because we're called this all the time. I know, Lou. And it's not true.
I know,
Lou. But sometimes we do get sensitive around our gender.
Yes.
Gandhi, you're Justin Moores. And it's all men.
Lou, really, sometimes
and it's not that deep.
Yes.
So when do you know, or how do you then, like, which cues do you use to kind of read the room?
It's so funny. I don't know how I know. I think
it's
a lot of
EQ.
But I think EQ is actually learned as well, right? I think when I think about it from a young age, my mom, like, I would have my parents sit me down and have me read out loud to them. And then, so that built my confidence about, like, seeing, and my mom would be like, okay, you're speaking too fast. So I've become super
okay.
aware of like, okay, how do you sound? Like, and then I did public speaking in school, and then a pebble would be put in my shoes so that you feel slight discomfort every time because I would start swaying. So
is it?
Yes, it's a very great way to learn public speaking.
Wow.
So small things like that have taught me like reading people's faces and seeing, hey, this one. And you know what, guys, we, especially as Black people, we know it just from going to your aunt's house, your uncle's house. Sometimes there's a funeral back Islalini, you go there and you can tell like, hey, here, you know, you're going to have to be a skirt. Where's your duke? You might have to file down your nails because you're going to have to be peeling beetroot. So there's just certain things, I think, especially if you are Black, are culturally ingrained where you can read the room. And if you can't, take practice. Like I practice reading people's faces because I was doing public speaking. My mom made me do modeling, and I'm a 1.5, so I've stopped growing. I'm 1.5 meters, guys. I'm not any taller. I've got tall people energy, but I'm not tall. And even that taught me a lot about like, okay, what would the judges be looking for in this? So I've built a EQ muscle. I don't think it's something that you're always naturally born with. So build that muscle, and that has taught me with cultural nuance as well. And honestly, I research a lot about things before I go. So if I'm going to Nigeria, if I'm going to Ethiopia, if I'm going to Kenya, like what are the people like? And then, but people are also different. I mean, recently I was in Kenya. We went in a room where everybody was like us, young. It was amazing. And then we went in a room with much older people where the women, then we had to be a little bit. And so I think it's just EQ is learned, but it's also, I think if you're Black and have the privilege of going to lallies and homes, you'll learn that muscle quickly about, hey, abantu basidala, and they require a certain level of how you treat them. Don't take it personally.
Yes, and I love what you said also just now about EQ. As a leader, you need a high EQ, guys. You must just work on yourself and then understand other people.
Yes.
So actually last year, started a new job, it was great. And I had one of the graduates come to me and say, Sissy, I didn't like how you spoke to me.
Oh, wow.
And at first I thought about it and I'm like, Haibo,
what did I say? What did I say?
What did I say?
Yes.
You know, but I then understood, Uguti, for her, that was too much. That was too harsh. And for something that was not necessarily her fault. She was basically getting the brunt of what had happened. So now I had to recalibrate and understand, because actually not everyone is the same in my team.
Yes.
And so sometimes you have to flex a bit.
Yes.
Still stay true to yourself and whatever you're pushing, but you want these people working with you, collaborating with you. So you want to inspire them to want to be there, you know?
You see, that's that EQ we talk about.
It's so important.
And it's learned. You just made a great example about how you've learned it as well. They have to. That's how we learn, guys. Sometimes you gotta be told.
I really appreciate it because the Gen Zs don't play.
No, they don't. You will be told.
Exactly.
You will be told. There might be a tweet about you also. Yeah.
I hope there isn't.
I know. I hate it for me. I'm so scared that one day somebody's going to be like, yo, don't see this lady. Last year she treated me like... And it's so sad to see those stories.
I know, right? But yeah, we live and learn.
We live and learn.
Anyways, we have people who have written into us.
Yes.
And asking several questions. So now we'll go to the second segment, which will be going through the questions. Okay. Other people have like stories and questions, like part 1, part 2.
Oh, okay. Let me get comfortable. Okay.
Please get comfortable. So this one says, hi, Alpha family, actually Alpha females. Thank you so much for such an insightful leadership series. I literally scream and have goosebumps listening to each incredible guest and think to myself, wow, I have a few questions. So ask a leader as a concept is great. Maybe for context, I am a senior engineer at work and offered the opportunity to manage 7 people that are a mixture of technologists, engineers, and inspectors. You're one of these people.
Yeah, different backgrounds.
Yes. So the first question she has is, how can one lead with empathy and still maintain boundaries? So she gives an example. For example, I've had one of my team members who I know spoke such vile things about me.
Sure.
Come to me crying about her issues. honestly, the prayer was just helping me think, and thank God I didn't. I wanted to tell her of my story that's similar to hers, but I ended up asking if we can just pray. Honestly, the prayer was just helping me think of what to do. And I obviously then referred her to ICAS. I was conflicted and wondered if I was empathetic enough or just being a manager. So she prayed for her.
Yeah.
But it's also someone who's basically sabotaging her whenever they have a chance. And she's now asking how can she lead with empathy but still have Mangchwailgab.
That's a very tough one.
Yeah.
I think already the empathy there is in showing grace to someone by even praying with them.
True.
I find that a lot of us are uncomfortable about our faith in the workplace. And so for me, it's always encouraging when people stand on their faith in the workplace. And I think it's also a touchy point for some people. So I think at least it sounds like the prayer was well accepted despite that. I don't know necessarily how to advise on this, but what I would say is I am very pro approaching things directly and just saying, Lou, you know what, this is what I've heard. Because sometimes what you've heard is not true, right?
True.
So sometimes you just need to say,
grapevine things.
They
have spices.
Because we also know how we talk, right?
Yeah.
I'll add a certain spice also because I don't feel like you're reacting enough. So let me add rajanyana to what I just heard.
Yeah, true.
So I'm pro approaching people with, hey, look, this is, and obviously this is not the right time when somebody's already going through their own thing. But past that, I think it's important to be able to confront something and not the person, but the problem. Like, I've heard these things that are being said. Let's address it. If we have a problem with each other, let's talk to each other. Let's not tell people, hey, Lou did this to me. Hey, Lou's life is in J&J. Just talk to people. A lot of the things I've heard about myself were also misunderstandings. Somebody repeated something and sometimes in jest. And they've said, look, I did say that and I'm so sorry. It was actually in jest and I didn't realize that it would hurt you like this. And so my advice would be approach and have the confrontation about what has been said. And you might be surprised. You might end up with a friend even after that.
True. They call them courageous conversations.
Courageous conversations. Yeah. And they're uncomfortable, guys. It's very uncomfortable.
They're very uncomfortable. But I think it also gives you a chance to say, I gave this person a chance. If now they are a terrible person, they are really a terrible person. It's not on you.
It's not on you. Now you don't know what it is, right? So approach it.
Yes. I love that.
Conversations. I love that.
So then she says, how can one instill a discipline of integrity and accountability in your team? In the workplace, leaders are often faced with people who have a I deserve this or entitlement. How does one navigate that? As employees, we all have responsibilities just to do our job.
Yeah.
But yes, especially with our Black people, you will fight.
Yeah.
Like, can we all understand? She's so frustrated. Like, can we all understand we have a role to play in the company?
Yeah. This one is a tough one, especially if you're leading very ambitious people. They're very antsy very quickly. I'd say like one of the things, because I've been that person to my leader, like being very antsy about like where I want to be. And the best leadership experience I've had is to be told to also find meaning outside of work. Because you end up making work your be-all and you make it your full identity. And that's where you end up with these issues, right? Because my identity is work and I'm not growing at work. Therefore, my life is not growing.
Falling apart.
Yes. And that's not necessarily true. And I've had a hard life in terms of experiencing that, because I was being considered for what we call a Section 21 at one point at work, where it was like, okay, well, we've got too many people in this role. You're not willing to move countries. So if you want growth, you have to move and go live in Europe. And I was like, I love it here. So they were like, well, there's no upward or sideway mobility. You've exhausted your options. So what does that look like? And that's the first time when it hit me.
Section 189.
Section 189 is the right one. That is the right one. And it's so funny. I'm thinking accounting. But it's such a it was such a slap and reality check in my face about like, work is not your identity. And this happening is not happening because of you. It's just happening to you because the company is the company and this is what's going to happen. And I mean, I was pretty lucky in that process that I did actually find another role. But I think the biggest thing is how people, you teach people that outside of work, you're also meaningful. And unfortunately, people are going to have to find that on themselves. Like, are you going to church? Are you in a choir? I've just recently started crocheting. Like, I'm trying to find my... Yeah, I know it sounds old. It's not that... It's so much fun, guys. Have you tried crocheting a square? I did it for 3 hours. It was so hard. But my point is, I've decoupled my identity from work.
I love
and
that.
So how I think you can work with the people that you are leading is to also find what else outside of work do they enjoy? Encourage things outside of work and also be honest about what growth looks like. I had leaders that told me straight, like, your next growth is to move and you're going to have to move to Europe and we'll help your husband and you find place. We'll really make it comfortable for you. But it was just not the right move for my family at that time, considering my parents' age as well. And it was so hard to hear that, well, if the role is becoming redundant. So you move and keep the role because we're not going to have it live here. Oh, thanks. It was fun. Good luck.
Thank
and so
you,
it was hard. It was hard. So I encourage leaders to also be honest with people. And I think they were honest with me. I just didn't want to hear what I heard. They told me for about 2 years.
Yeah.
They told me for about 2 years, like, you need to move, you need to move. Yes. And then eventually it was there. So be honest with people about what mobility looks like in the business, because then it's easy to be like, okay, I need to focus on this. And then lastly, like, try to help people see outside of their identity of work. Decouple yourself. Work is work, guys.
Yeah. One of the things I ask when I meet new people, especially people that are joining my team, is what do you love doing?
Yes.
I always ask that question. Because then you'll tell me elements of yourself that aren't necessarily work. One, I use them to understand who you are as a person. But two, it's to your point. So that I see if work is the only thing that you do, then I'm just like, hey, I'm in trouble.
I promise you, you do not want somebody whose work is like...
I was once that person and people were in trouble. Because you just, your whole life becomes work. That's so true. Okay. Then this is the last one.
Yes. You guys, these are tough. Like, it's so tough.
So she says corporate thugs are the worst because it's difficult to discipline someone who is nice, but they don't work. Or they don't deliver. And there's just tardiness. And she says, woo, I'm screaming right now.
I hear you.
So she's asking, so she says, anyway, I've also gone through a person who was just not delivering. But I know she was going through things and I was still conflicted. But how do we deal with someone who's just not delivering, but they are so nice?
Sure, guys, this is a tough one.
Right.
And it's also something that I've experienced as well with somebody who was in my team who genuinely was a good, they met their targets. They did what they had to do. And then they had death of their grandmother who basically raised them. And that was very tough.
Shame.
But, and to be honest, it was a tough 6 months for me because they were not delivering at all in that time. I'd say, like, I don't even think I have good advice because I think I didn't handle it so well. And so maybe looking back, what I would have done different is made the business aware as well of what is happening. Look into the team about what can be taken away from somebody's plate. Still keep them at certain KPIs and hold them accountable to certain things, but maybe you might want to reduce the load for that person, especially if you know that generally they are a good performer.
Yeah.
This was just something that's personal to them. So that's what I would have done better. I just ended up taking their workload and then it just became a mess.
You died.
Even me, I was drowning. Now none of us are performing at this point. So I would highly recommend, like, where you can, make it known to the other people within the business that this person is going through something. Where can we maybe reduce the load? But still hold people accountable to certain KPIs, because if you relaxed too much about what is required, unfortunately that can be taken advantage of. And I was taken advantage of as well in this sense, and why I ended up doing 2 jobs. And so my biggest lesson would just be still hold people accountable, maybe reduce the load, but make it aware to the comfort of the person, how far they're willing to make people aware, but make it aware that somebody's going through something. We just need to give them some time. And they also need to accept that
the time is not forever.
Yes. And it's you know, at some point you're going to also have to start being harsh about like, hey, so we're going to start putting things back in your plate. In 2 weeks, you're putting this back in your plate. And I think, you know, we always say like, at the end of the day, we're all here to work, guys. Like we're being held to very high standards. But kindness, you'd be surprised at how people show up after you've shown them kindness as well.
That's true.
So look, it was a harsh 6 months, but this person, rock star still. But I would not recommend doing what I did. Just peel back. In hindsight, I would not recommend.
2020 got Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
If you watched.
Girl.
You handled those very well.
Nah, this is tough. Oh my gosh. Maybe one more. A light one. Find me the lightest one you have.
The lightest one.
Or even a hard one. You know what? Let's help some sisters out.
Should we do? Okay. There was a light one.
Okay.
Actually, I got asked this yesterday.
Okay.
From my mentee.
Yes.
She asked, how do you find a mentor and build a meaningful relationship?
Oh, that is a good question.
My view.
Yes.
But I did say I'm going to ask, actually.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
And I love that question. I'm going through a process of, so I mentor 2 different cohorts of people.
Yes.
One is where this is how I got my bursary to study at Wits.
Yes.
So I'm giving back to that cohort. And then another one is a youth organization that I'm very passionate about. So I'm also mentoring there. And it's a thing that the mentees basically pick who they want as mentor. And it's my favorite thing. But what I do is I've been asking them, like, what do you want from this? Because that will help you pick what kind of mentor you want. And I've been a mentee before, and I found it useless, for lack of better words. And why? It's because it was my fault.
It was directionless. That's exactly what I told her. Don't go there and say, please mentor me.
What do you want?
Yes.
What do you want?
Mentor me on.
100%.
I have been trying to do X.
And I don't know how to think about it. Can you help me think about it?
Yes.
And also, as a mentee, I find that I chose my mentor based on where do I want to end up. So I'm like, okay, Lou is CEO Yako MTN. Therefore, I want her to be my mentor because I want to end up in MTN.
And that's what a lot of people do.
And unfortunately, that was also not great for me. The best mentor I had was actually a career coach that I ended up seeing when I was still trying to figure out decoupling myself from my career. I saw a career coach, my favorite thing. If you can afford one, I highly recommend people go see a career coach.
Same.
It really changed my perspective. It absolutely changed my life and how I think about work. But this person asked me, like, what do you like doing? What are your skill sets? Like, let's find somebody that is similar to you. And I ended up having a mentor who is also a speaker, but he is in HR. He's somebody in HR, and he does a lot about like, it's what do you call these graphics? These graphic books.
What
that people read about Spider-Man and all those comic books. Yeah, so he's very big into comic books, and so it's very odd, but that taught me a lot about like what do I want from a mentor, and it was like I want somebody playful because I want to learn to be playful even in work because I like having fun, I like having a good time. That. So playfulness, and it keeps you young, guys. That's why I'm crocheting, like my grandmother. And then he also taught me to think about problems as not like personal problems, but like things you do outside of work actually solve your work problems a lot. That's why people exercise. That's why they do other things, color in a book, do a puzzle. These things unlock this for you. So as a mentee, when you're trying to think about what kind of mentor you're looking for, first think about what are you trying to solve for. What am I missing? Not where do I want to be, but like I'm thinking about my career, and this is the thing in my career that's itching me, and I just need somebody to help me think about it that has more experience. So I would say just don't say I want Priscilla as my mentor. Say I want this archetype of person as a mentor, and then go look what that looks like. And
I love that.
A comic was never something I thought. HR and comic person
could go together.
And best mentor.
People are layered.
People are so layered.
So much to share. So many experiences that have shaped them. So it's also good to look at people as stories, not just as a title. You're not
I
just
love
one
that.
thing. You
I
are a
love
story.
that.
So you want to connect with someone
Yes.
you can relate to,
Yes.
also story-wise. That's what I told her again.
Yes, that is good advice. Do you want to be my mentor? Serious, why are you laughing?
Peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer, yeah, peer-to-peer mentorship,
Okay.
guys.
We have 3 more.
Yes.
Then we're going to be done. This one, I'll just sort of bundle into one scenario or question.
Okay.
Because it's a couple of questions, but they have the same theme. And then we'll do the last 2. For me, if you are the one that wrote in to us with these questions, vote with your feet. However, let's hear what you think.
Okay.
So basically, this person's scenario has a manager that is stopping their growth for any other roles in the company. So blocking them. The manager that's checking their time and always sending emails and, basically building a case up against them, being humiliated in front of others. They've been intimidated and also been threatened by the same manager. And yeah.
You remember when earlier I said you're not a tree?
Yes.
Move. I think, and sometimes we don't move because we think, fighting is the right way to go about it. And I think fighting has its place and time. But sometimes the system is against you because this person has created a whole ecosystem to bring you down and not encourage you. So I would highly encourage leaving. I have no more leave.
Yes. It's also not good for your mental health. Ooh. Like, imagine going to work and being on a war zone. Your nervous system is already triggered. Yes. You can't show up well in the other areas of your life.
There's no way.
It's just, my sister, if it's you, my alpha female, hamba.
So vote with your...
Yes, start applying, hamba, reach out to people, have coffee dates.
My favorite type of dates.
Yes. Yeah. You had said earlier that someone was literally wearing an Uber top.
And I approached them.
You approached them. Approach people on LinkedIn.
Guys, I highly recommend. And you'd be so surprised how many people are willing to help. Every time, even my current role, when I was in the interview process, I looked for who are other people across the world that have this role. I reached out, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Do you mind looking at my work? I'm interested in the company. What's the culture like? What's it like? Have you ever worked with Black females? What is it like? Because you never know what culture is like. So to your point, stalk people on LinkedIn, reach out, send a message, pay that little extra 80 rand for the premium so you can message people so that have their things blocked. Message them. Yeah.
I love that. And then this question is mainly about if you've reached your ceiling in your current role. So you love your job, but there's no further skills to learn. There's nothing more. But you love your job. So what do you do?
Sure. I've been in this very predicament because I loved the job, I loved the people, but even I knew there's nothing more. It's chai for me. And similar to the thing that the best thing you can do is actually, firstly, figure out if there's like short-term assignments you can do, because that's also one of the ways I grew my skill set. I was like, okay, I already know my job so well. I can do it with my eyes closed. This team is talking about something exciting. Can my manager assist me with, maybe let me work in this team for 3 months so you can learn something new. That's one way I at least kind of got away from that rut. And then I guess the biggest thing is also just find an opportunity elsewhere. I think it's so much harder. I've stayed in roles so much longer because it was so much fun with the people I worked with. And I really, really enjoyed the work I do. So I get it. But if you can stay and get a different skill set, do it. And you can do this. But again, I'm very pro short-term assignments. And you're lucky if your job does allow that. If not, ask your manager, hey, I'm interested in Lou's team. They're talking about doing this. Could I maybe help them out 20% of my time and do that? So if you can, reach out.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful. Even understanding what your whole department does.
Yes.
So don't limit yourself to just your job. Have a broader understanding. Spend time with your teammates. So that you understand other parts that exist. And maybe that could spark interest or just learning about the parallels in your team as well.
100%.
Yeah. And then this last one, and I wanted to end with this one, says, is it normal if I don't want to be a leader? So is it normal for some people not to aspire to be leaders?
100 times yes. 100 times yes. And I think we're in a place where we're always pushing for self-improvement. What can I do to make myself better? How can I become the best of the best? And it's not for everyone. In fact, some of the best people I've worked with just simply did not want to do it. When I first joined and I had the chance to do different things, when I first joined my first tech job, one of the things I was asked is, do you want to work in a team where you could become a manager or do you want to be an individual contributor? And I went for the individual contributor role. Obviously, with time as you grow, you can't run away from being a manager. But that was my favorite time because it's you, it's disciplining you, it's your time and how you meet your KPIs. And again, it's not because maybe I didn't care for leadership, but at that time in my life, I didn't want to be a leader. I wanted to just be reporting to somebody else, doing my job. And it was my favorite thing, honestly, because it's managing your own emotions, your own work. And so if you don't want to be a leader, that is okay. Like, because leadership looks different in different things. Like when we think about a leader, it's not necessarily the manager or, you know, the CEO. Sometimes leadership is exactly where you are by mentoring people around you, leading yourself. Because that's also discipline that takes. So leadership looks different for different people. And if it's not for you in work, then that's fine. And it's not for you anywhere else. I love that as long as you are fulfilled and you're happy with what you do, there's absolutely no reason why you should want to lead people or be a leader.
I love that. And I think it's such a sweet way to end.
Oh, no! Don't go.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely loved having you. Thank you for your vulnerability as well. I think you really shared the good, the bad. You were inward looking as well. And I hope through answering some of these questions, it really resonates with multiple people. To you at home, or I don't know where you watch us or listen to us, thank you so, so much for being part of the series. And hopefully today you really did take out a lot from what Priscilla said, whether it's, you know, not being a leader, if that's not your calling, whether it's being malleable, not being rigid, right? Starting to look at portfolio careers more than just one route or trying to churn your life as one thing. Whether it's having a life outside work, building yourself outside work. There's so much. But thank you for being with us. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.